What up guys, One Fit Bruja here, and today I am back to finally show you guys some protection magic. Yep, that's what I said. I've had so many requests about protection magic in general, so I figured I would just do a video on that now, since today is a good day to do so, and this is what I would normally do when I go about enchanting my jewelry and also performing a protective spell at the same time, just for my own general protection and not to just enchant the jewelry. But with this spell, you can kill two birds with one stone. As horrible and cruel and crappy that sounds, we need to think of a different saying for that, because I don't like that. Kill two people with one car. Does that make it better? No. Anyways, awkward moments set aside from my cruel and dark sarcasm that I have. So anyways, I'm gonna show you guys a protection spell that's quite simple, and I'm gonna go through a few different variations that you guys can do if you do not have everything that I have, to make it more simple for you, because magic is supposed to be simple. It's supposed to make your life better. You do not need every single thing that I have to do this. I'm going to tell you that now, before I end up ranting and rambling too much, and I usually do that at the end of my videos. I'm going to stop that here and then do that later, so let's get into the magic. So for this spell, you guys are going to need some salt, basil, sage, some peppermint oil or peppermint if you have that instead, cloves, rosemary, oregano, marjoram, and I'm going to be using Goddess of the Moon incense. You can interchange this for dragon's blood or any other highly protective incense that you wish to use. And I'm going to be using selenite, labradorite, black tourmaline, garlic skins, and I'm going to have candles to represent each element. Coconut oil, and a white candle for the moon goddess, and my piece of jewelry that I wish to charge. First off, obviously I'm going to cleanse my space, myself, and my items before getting into my working, so we can vibrate at a higher frequency. Also, I would like to mention that I am performing this working on a Monday, and I did so because I want to correlate Monday with the moon. I am using the moon goddess's energy here to protect me and charge my piece of jewelry that has the moonstone on it, so that goes hand in hand with her. A lot of people prefer to do protection magic on a different day, but I feel like the piece of jewelry that I am charging right now would be more beneficial to work with her on this day than to use this jewelry and wait until a different day, if you know what I mean. So first off, my white candle, my biggest white candle that I have, is to represent the moon goddess herself, and I engraved her symbol on there and what I need from her, which is protection to protect myself, so I engraved that on there. And now I'm taking my candles for each element. Here I'm using the brown candle for earth, the blue candle is for water, the white candle is for air, and the red candle is for fire. And now I am blessing my salt for protection and purification purposes. And now I am going to make a pentacle with that salt, and I will place my candles around it like so. Your pentacle does not have to be perfect, and you do not have to start in a specific area. Just go about this the way you normally would if you were drawing one. And now is the time to take your element candles and to place them in 4 even places across from each other on your pentacle. I preferably like to do this in the way that my altar is facing. If you do not know which way you are facing. You can use a compass or simply download one onto your phone, and you can set your candles up like so. I chose to use coconut oil as my anointing oil. It's good for protection and purification, and it has a direct connection with the moon goddess herself, and it holds feminine energy. So this could not be more perfect, but you can use a different oil if you do not have coconut oil. First up, I'm going to go in with marjoram. And marjoram is great for deflecting bad luck and is a highly protective herb. I would suggest anointing the candle towards you, but that is just my personal preference because you want this protection to be for you and nobody else. Next up, I'm going to go in with roughly 3 pinches of oregano, and oregano is great for cleansing and for overall protection. Up next we have rosemary, which is a great multi-purpose herb, and I'm going to be using this for protection. Next up we have the basil, and I love basil. This is a highly protective herb and is also great to use in a floor wash. And of course, you cannot have a protection spell without the sage. Sage is great for cleansing away negative energy. So of course, you're going to want this to repel any negative energy or psychic attacks. Alright, so next up we have cloves, and cloves is great to protect against psychic attacks. And I chose to use 5 here to represent the elements: earth, water, fire, air, and spirit. Next up, you're going to take your mint or mint essential oil. This is great to ward off any ill intentions. And back in the day, this was used to help break hexes. Next up, I am going to grab my selenite and I'm going to place one at each point of my pentacle. Next up, I am taking a handful of garlic stems and I'm going to sprinkle them around my pentacle. I basically envision this as a defense system that helps ward off ill intent and creates a protection barrier. So I will place some in the protective circle and also on top of my working candle. So next up, I am placing a couple pieces of labradorite onto my tray, and labradorite is great to protect yourself from psychic attacks. And next up, we have black tourmaline, which repels harmful energy. And lastly, I have a tiny piece of moonstone just to strengthen my connection with the moon goddess herself. And now I have my piece of jewelry that I am recharging, and I have it in a small bowl of salt to help cleanse and purify it, and I'm going to place that inside the pentacle. And now I'm going to light my elemental candles, and as I do so, I say aloud, Earth, bless me with protection at all times. Air, bless me with protection at all times. Fire, bless me with protection at all times. Water, bless me with protection at all times. And as I do that one by one, I envision these elements surrounding me in a circle, a protective circle to ward off anything that is trying to come at me. And then lastly, I light my candle of spirit, which represents the moon goddess herself. And I ask her to bestow protection upon me. And now I will chant my incantation. Protection is all around me. I am safe from harm. People who wish to hurt me are now unarmed. And I will chant this as many times as I feel fit. I will meditate over this for a bit longer, and I will wait until all my candles are burned down, and then your little trinket is now fully charged and ready to go. Alright guys, so that is the full spell, and like I said earlier, you do not need all these things to do this spell. You can replace the elemental candles with plain white candles, just simply engrave the element that the candle represents for each one. Earth, air, fire, water, engrave their symbols on there, or you can simply just write out earth, air, water, fire, and go from there. You can use the salt in just the candles. You do not need to enchant your jewelry or talismans or amulets like the way I'm doing now, but I feel like this is more productive for me to do it at this time than to wait later on and then do a whole nother spell or charging session for that piece of jewelry. You can do multiple pieces of jewelry, but I prefer to focus on maybe 2 or 3 at a time. This one is just the one. This is my most strongest, powerful one that I have, and it is a moonstone in the centerpiece of the one that I am charging right now. So that correlates with the moon goddess quite well, so that's why I'm doing it this way. You can find other ways to do this. It does not have to be this complicated. You can simply just have a white candle, a little tiny bowl of salt, some selenite, maybe some clear quartz or some smoky quartz. Place that next to there. Place your intent and your mind's eye into it. It doesn't have to be this complicated. But like I said in my magical jewelry video, that I do like to go all out and enchant and place as much power into my jewelry as possible, because I wear this jewelry on a daily basis. So I need it to be charged and powerful at all times, because I am in the public eye and I know some people don't like me. Whatever it is, they're not gonna like me, and that's okay. I don't expect everybody to like me. I'm not put on this earth to please everybody. But some people do have ill intent towards you. And if you do practice darker magic like I do, I don't do it all the time. I do it on rare occasions, and I only do it when I see that it is fit, that it's affecting me or affecting someone I love dearly. With that said, I wear a lot of protection jewelry and I take protective measures. I don't do this all the time. I don't feel like I need to do this every single day, or I don't feel like I need to do this once a week or twice a week. I feel like one protective spell or ritual per full moon, or on a day that it falls as to do so, to perform that such magic, to have more power placed into it, then I will do it that day of the week. But you do not need to think you are under attack all the time, because you are not. When you think like that, then you open up doors for yourself to get attacked. Do not think like that. Make sure you know how to project an energy field when you're around people who are negative and draining. Project an energy field when you're in the cemetery. You don't need to cast a circle for everything you do, but you can project an energy field that is just as effective to protect your own being. And I do that quite often. I know how to do it pretty fast. I've gotten used to doing it. And it's a sensation that you can feel throughout your body to keep you protected without any jewelry or anything on you or around you. You can use crystals to help you do this, but it takes practice, just like casting a circle and doing protective magic. It takes some time to get a hang of it and to make sure that you are putting enough energy into it, that you are actually activating the energy that you need to put forth to keep you protected, to make sure your magic is working. You just need to get in touch with yourself, listening to your ancestors, listening to your spirit guides, and of course, make sure you work with your elements. Your elements are everything. They are all around you, and they can keep you protected at all times. They are very strong, okay? Your divine nature is connected with these elements. You go hand in hand with the elements. This is your mind, body, and soul connection. So work with them closely. So that's why I chose to use the elements in my protective magics, because I feel like it is necessary to do so, because they are around me at all times. And if they are around you at all times, then you will be protected at all times. Before I forget, guys, some of you are probably going to ask me, is this safe to do, like before I attempt to do other workings that are of the darker nature, or, you know, manipulate energy to make it into a negative source? I would do this before you perform any sort of hexing or cursing or any sort of work that is more on the darker side, so you are protected. Some people will choose to do it afterwards, but I highly suggest doing it before. Get your stuff charged up, juiced up before you start doing the darker workings, because it is energy draining and you need to be protected when you do that, because you're messing around with the darker sort of nature of things. And sometimes if you are sensitive to these sort of things, then you open yourself up for psychic attacks to happen. So I'd highly suggest doing a protection spell or ritual before you attempt to do any hexing or cursing or anything of that nature. Hopefully I gave you enough information to do this, and of course I'm going to place more intent, more of my mind's eye, more of my power into this working. I'm going to let all these candles burn out, and I'm going to place an offering for the moon goddess herself, and I'm going to place an offering for my ancestors and whoever I called forth to help me, because you should always do that. You should always pay respects to anyone who has helped you, regardless of if they helped you in a working or not, because you just should. If you care about them like the way they care about you, then you show them. It should just come naturally, whether or not you need them to empower something or not, because then that would just be rude. if you're thinking about it like that. And good luck having them help you over and over again if you don't pay your respects. So you can use other crystals too to empower this, to help charge this. You can also use black salt. You can help banish any negative energy that is on your jewelry when you're doing this. So it helps repel anything that's been attached to it that's been kind of icky and hard to get off. So don't think you can just use white salt. I mean, you can if that's all you have. It's the most easily accessible. You can get that anywhere and empower it yourself. All right, I'm done blabbing. All right, guys, until next time, I will see all you lovely little brujitas later.